women really need men? And 40% of you said yes.
Do women need men? This discussion has been had by many people, and modern women today typically claim women don't need men. But what's unique about today's video is that this is a video from 11 years ago about this topic, and you're going to see that it foreshadowed exactly what's happening right now. And with that being said, let's get started.
The question that we're asking today, and this comes from a New York Times article, is do women need men? Audience, do we need men? According to this article in the New York Times, it says that men are becoming obsolete biologically. Here's a quote. If men were cars, who would buy the model that doesn't last as long and ends up impounded more often?
This is already starting out pretty contentious. This article in the paper comparing men to used cars? With so many women talking about how they're queens and they're 10s and they don't need a man, women are more like used cars than men. As they age, they don't appreciate. They typically depreciate in terms of market value. Not who they are as people, but their SMV in terms of desirability to men. Most older women do not enjoy the same glances and looks and attention that they used to draw when they were younger.
That's an article. That's coming from an op-ed in the New York Times. I'm sorry. Listen, on the flip side, there's a flip side.
No.
There's a new book, The Gaggle, that says that every woman needs a gaggle of guys to fill different roles in her life. I do believe that. Yes, I do.
So this book that was written over 11 years ago is telling women that instead of having one man for themselves, that they need a collection of men in their life that can do all the things that they want them to do. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like what we're experiencing today? Absolutely it does. As I have argued, are cheating more than men, are out here bad more than men, or are enjoying the company of multiple men more than men are enjoying women. But just think about this mindset of this book, The Gaggle, that was put out over 11 years ago, telling women these things, telling women that they need more than one man. And think about all of the videos that I've made on this channel showing that women are just as bad as the men that they complain about.
All right, Steve, make a case for our existence.
All right, well, first of all, this article was written by a biologist, not a sociologist, and his argument is about the fact that women don't need much biologically from men. They don't need much biological material from men. Actually, 3.3 picograms worth of DNA apparently is all you need. And so I think that what was really interesting is that he did glance over the fact that fatherhood is very important, and having positive male and female role models in a child's life is important. But there is an overarching issue here. Do women need men? I think you do. Yeah. I think it's a good thing to need a man, because we need women.
I love the way that he said that women do need men because men need women. This is something that I've argued on the channel, that we need each other. So this discussion and this talk that women don't need men, or even men don't need women, this is crazy, because it's not in our nature not to coexist. It's not in our nature not to have each other. But you have these people out here, particularly these modern women, saying that they don't need men, that the earth would be better if men just expired, women would be all good without men. This shit would all shut down if you don't have strong men, working men, to keep this shit running. This book was written by a dude. So it's bad enough that you have the feminists with an F out here pushing this girl power agenda, but you also had men doing it and pushing this agenda, pushing these narratives that we see today.
I think the one thing that was missing in this article was you don't know whose sperm you're gonna get. If you're just looking, I mean, come on. If you're just looking at it biologically and you're just gonna get, I mean, it could be Shaq's. That sounds like it's gonna hurt.
I when it comes to a male's role in a female's life in today's society, it needs to be one of pleasure and something that you welcome into your life, not one out of necessity. But it's a known fact. We have bigger egos than you women, okay? Just it doesn't take much. Just stroking us a little bit usually goes a very far way. Look,
that's where we're at today, where women are like, hey, we don't need you out of necessity, but we need you to lay down with. Now we have all this promiscuity going on with modern women today. And what has that served? What has that helped? We are raising this generation without men. We've been raising multiple generations without male input. And we see what's happening. It makes girls more promiscuous. We see that it makes boys weaker and they're effeminate and they're emotional. And then when they're emotional, they're lashing out. They don't know how to control themselves and their emotions.
It doesn't take much. Just stroking us a little bit usually goes a very far way.
Look, as the father of a daughter, Tisha, I'd like to think that Serena needs me.
Yes. No, absolutely. I am the mother of 2 boys, and I have a lovely husband I've been with for 23 years. How would I look calling him obsolete? Or my boys, for that matter. I want them to know that they're loved and needed, and I think it's more than just a sperm donor.
But at least for the amount of time that they've been together, they have had a male figure in their life, even if Dwayne Martin happens to like guys, because 2 guys raising kids still works out to be an excellent life for those kids. The point being is you still need a male influence in the life of children.
There's something in this article where this gentleman talks about the fact that today women are the majority of college graduates, that women live longer, and that women don't need a male partner to have a baby. You can do it with a turkey baster, but
see how these talking points have been introduced, and we're looking at this show, right, where they're laughing and joking, but this is on network TV. This is on like ABC, and they're having these conversations, and we know that all of these things and these thoughts and this basically systematic deconstruction of the family has been going on for at least 30, 40 years, if not longer. To know all these daytime talk shows that pretty much bash men and try to uplift women. And even when men went on those shows to try to speak up against these things, or at least to make the male point, what happened? They were called misogynists. They were said to have toxic masculinity. All of these things were put on the men who decided to stand up and speak against these things. Yet and still, here we are today, listening to the same talking points that were put out many years ago.
It's not as much fun either.
Listen, I think there's something to be said about relationship in general. And the biggest problem that I see threatening this country today is the fact that people don't feel a need for relationship in their life. That's what makes us human, relating to other people. It's balance, it's compromise, it's sharing the responsibility and the risk and the burden. And if you don't want somebody in your life to share the responsibility and the challenges with you,
well, I think that could be. I have one of my best friends is a two mother couple, and I think it's right. It's co-parenting.
It's co-parenting.
Yeah. But as long as
you have to take that
share.
journey with somebody.
Yes.
That's what's missing in this article.
Not to say that 2 women can't raise a child and create a family for children. Not saying that. But we know that when it comes to same-sex couples, women are more likely to split up than 2 men together. So even women, when they're together, are having trouble maintaining their family, maintaining that couple relationship. They're getting divorced at a high rate too. You see how this agenda slips that in? Old boy talked about how relationships, the thought of having solid foundational relationships has slipped away. Even 11 years ago, that this is still an issue. That matter of fact, the issue has gotten even worse.
Because journeys with turkey basters are no fun at all.
They're really not.
It's shocking number, by the way. We've been asking you all day, and here the poll results are in. Do women really need men? And 40% of you said yes.
You have 60% of respondents saying that they don't need men, that women don't need men. What do you think that number is today? That is astronomical. And we see the effect and the toll that it is taking on us today. We see the effects and the tolls it is taking on families. This pervasive thought that's been planted from shows like this. See how it's all laugh and giggles and making light and fun of it? But it has real world consequences today.
Closing thoughts, Tisha?
I need a man.
Nice.
That's just the bottom line. I need my husband.
And that is so attractive.
I need a man. I need my husband. I need my boys. I need a man.
And if the modern women today had a strong father figure, male figure in their life, I believe that some of them wouldn't be behaving and acting the way they would. I believe that they would have a better foundation for what they're looking for in a man and what they want and need in a man. Because again, to say that you don't need a man, all it does is set you up later for when you get a man that you don't appreciate that man.